Oops. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. I hope that wasn't that wasn't too much dark. I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where I look like I'm kind of yellow. What's going on? Yeah, it's a little bit better. We watch old 16mm films, and that was a home movie that we just watched. And it was a home movie that was shot at home. It was interesting. So in the years of transferring home movies and doing home movie days, we've seen some people feel very comfortable shooting at home life, and it's usually related to a baby being on the scene, documenting the baby. But some parents continue to document what was happening at the house, or at least birthday parties or special events. And some people would just do vacations. And what's interesting is some people wouldn't even have their family in the images, except that maybe at the very end. Like, you'll see this entire trip to Italy, you'll see all this beautiful Italian architecture, you'll see all these people, but at no point do you see someone like waving at the camera like, "Hi, this is Madge," like near the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's at the end. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, you know what, I need to document family a little bit." So anyways, it's interesting to kind of look at these home movies as documents and the different eyes that camera people have. In the meantime, let's watch a Castle, I believe this is a Castle film, Black-Bear Twins. Enjoy.
Like all cubs, they like to play. Their mother is still asleep and the cubs are on their own. Now this is probably why they're so rough in their play. Breakfast time. The twins are hungry from the long night and rough playing. Sister Bear has learned to look for bugs under large rocks. She tries to lift this one with her paws. She even tries to shove it aside with her nose, and she digs all around it. Ha! A beetle. Very tasty, but not enough for breakfast. Brother Bear, meanwhile, is also on the lookout for food. There may be something to eat in this rotten log. A nest of ants. Brother and Sister Bear like to eat ants and grasshoppers and crickets and berries, but what are a few ants for two growing cubs? And so on they go to look for more food. Sister Bear takes a good look at the young fir tree. No, nothing there. How about this tall tree? Brother Bear joins his sister. His nose is turned upward as he sniffles the bark. There's something sweet high up there in this hollow tree, he mumbles to himself. It could be honey. And honey it is. Up he goes after the honey. Good, very good, delicious. Never mind the bees. They're sort of annoying when a bear is hungry, but his thick fur protects him for a while at least. The more he chews off the honeycomb, the angrier the bees become. Now, they're attacking his face, his eyes, his nose, until he's forced to give up and begins to retreat. On the way down, he stops once more to lick off some more honey that had dripped onto the bark. But now the bees are getting really mean. And so he hurries down the tree and away from the bees. His hide is burning from all the stings, and he feels very uncomfortable. This mud puddle is just the right place for him. The cool, wet mud will soothe his burning hide. Next morning brings new adventures. Adventures that the Black Bear twins will never forget. There are people in their forest. Here come Jimmy and Alice and their mother and father. They seem to have noticed something on the ground. What is it? Father takes a good look. Seems like bear tracks, he says. Baby bears, no doubt. Oh, let's find them, beg the children. They look around for footprints of their mother bear, but there are none. And that's why Mother thinks the cubs may be orphans. Maybe they're hungry, says Alice. Let's go to the camp and get some food for them, proposes Father, and everyone agrees. In the camp, Mother unpacks the breakfast bacon. You can have this much, she says. The children decide to hang the bacon on this tree. Hang it low, Father suggests. Remember, they're cubs. Soon the sun goes down. The children are all excited, waiting for the bears to come for the food. Mother suggests that Alice and Jim hide inside the tent. Otherwise, the bears may not dare to come. Out in the forest, the bears have been smelling the delicious bacon. And now that all is quiet, they come to taste it. It's dinner time, and they're hungry. Piece by piece, they're chewing up the bacon, and they're looking for more. What a dinner! Oh, he scared them away. Next morning, the family is up with the sun. The Black Bear twins are watching from their thicket while the family eats a hearty breakfast. Soon the campers are ready to go fishing. This is just what the bears were waiting for. Like all youngsters, they love to explore. Sister is out in front. What is this, she wonders? It smells strange, it tastes strange, and it does strange things. Maybe she better leave it alone. And Brother Bear, what has he discovered? A ball! What a wonderful thing to play with. It may even be good to eat. He'll try. Enough mischief for Brother. But Sister is just making a new discovery. Her black nose wiggles with excitement as she fumbles around the strawberry jam and leftover waffles. She settles down more comfortably in the chair and begins to taste the food. She likes it. It's sweet like honey and crunchy like young roots. But now, how about that plate over there? It is a little out of reach. Brother Bear hears the noise, and so do the children who are just coming back from fishing. The bears better get away, and quick. They race down to the lake. Black bears are good swimmers. And soon they're safe on their side of the lake, running back to their part of the forest and to their mother, where they can rest safely after their exciting adventure with people.
Wow, there's missing the beginning, missing the end. That tends to happen with some of these films, especially ones that were popular with substitute teachers who would not be very good at threading the film and not be very good about rewinding the film. And so the beginnings and the ends of films get shredded. Not great. Let's see. So many films to watch. We saw the Black Bear twins and their shenanigans, and I should say, don't follow black bears like cubs. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. It's not good for anybody involved. There's so many examples where people are like, oh, the bears are cute, cubs, and then there's some problems. So don't do it. There's my public service announcement. Let's learn about some biology, specifically immunology. And this one's got some great animation. Enjoy.
Throughout life, the body's immune system plays a key role in its defense against harmful invaders. Bacteria cause tetanus, venereal disease, and tooth decay. Fungi cause athlete's foot. Parasites like protozoa cause malaria. Parasitic worms cause hookworm and schistosomiasis. Viruses cause polio, syphilis, herpes, and perhaps some cancers. In addition, immune system imperfections lead to such problems as allergies and acquired immunity deficiency syndromes, AIDS. This is a report on our current understanding of the body's immune system. The immune system includes a self-contained army of cells and chemicals that defend those cells attacked by invading antigens from outside. Microcinematography clarifies this process. All the defender cells, called leukocytes, and defender molecules are carried by the arteries, veins, and capillaries to sites of infection. Time-lapse filming reveals normal body cells undergoing movement and growth. Such normal cells shown here dividing consist of a nucleus surrounded by jelly-like cytoplasm with a complex outer membrane. One form of antigen invader, the virus, attacks and destroys cells directly. Attaching to cell membranes, viruses inject nucleic acids which take over the cell's genetic mechanism so viruses multiply within the cell. The boiling effect is due to the tiny viruses which cause lesions. Released, they infect nearby tissue so the infection spreads. How is the virus infection eliminated? Time-lapse filming shows lymphocytes hunting virus-infected cells. Contacting cell surfaces, they inject lymphotoxins, which poison and kill infected cells. Or they puncture cell membranes, causing leaks, which lead to cell death. The lymphocytes select and kill only cells containing the virus. Normal, healthy cells are left intact. The antibodies in this animation are molecules with specific immune system roles. Produced by lymphocytes, one class of antibodies combines with antigens to inactivate them directly. Other cells, called phagocytes, are directed by immune system chemicals into the infected areas, whereupon they close in on antigens and attach to them. Phagocytes then engulf the invaders, and the foreign substance is digested and neutralized. Besides engulfing antigens, phagocytes may, aided by other immune system components, kill them directly. The immune process is complex and difficult to visualize. Here, using animation, we can view a simplification. Invading antigens, in this case viruses, enter the body and seek out vulnerable tissue. Attaching to cell membranes, viruses cause cell surface alterations. Gaining control, the viruses copy themselves in large numbers, mature, and blow up the cells, releasing the new viruses. These scatter and attack more cells. As the viruses multiply, so the infection spreads. To ward off the infection, an immune response must occur. The first step, defender cells must be able to recognize viruses and virus-infected cells. The virus antigen may actually contact a phagocyte, which then processes and makes available antigen material to the T cell, another component of the immune system. In any case, the phagocyte gives an antigen description to the T cell or T leukocyte. This T cell processes it and becomes activated. It can now recognize viruses and virus-infected cells. The T cell response is to increase the number of defender cells. The immune system now makes many types of T cells, helpers, killers, and others, all of whom can recognize the invader antigen. Orders also go out to other defender cells. One set of orders commands special killer cells to attack infected cells. Only those already invaded by virus antigens are destroyed. T cell messages are sent as chemicals. The first chemical message, MAF, macrophage activating factor, alerts and arms all phagocytes against the virus antigen. A second chemical message, chemotaxic factor, CF, directs phagocytes to the battle zone. As they arrive, a third chemical message, MIF, migration inhibition factor, keeps them in the infected zone. The phagocytes recognize the enemy by special cell surface qualities, then kill those infected cells, engulf virus particles and debris, and digest them. However, phagocytes may also be overwhelmed, giving the antigens the upper hand. The T cell then signals for more defenders with the chemical messenger MF, mitogenic factor. Of these, the B cells make antibodies, molecules which destroy this particular invader virus. Antibodies may kill the virus directly or bind several viruses together so phagocytes and killer cells can destroy them. Antibodies can also adhere to antigen-coated cells, helping phagocytes and killer cells to destroy them. Other specialized T cells joining the body's defense include the helper cells, which communicate with T cells and B cells in making antibodies. The B cells stockpile antibodies for future use, strengthening the body's immune response. Other T cells, the suppressor cells, regulate and inhibit antibody production. A lymphotoxin, a biochemical substance, is released which destroys virus-filled cells. Another biochemical substance, interferon, or IF, inactivates viruses. New defenders, including mediator cells, are directed to the infection by MSF, migration stimulation factor. The cells carry biologically active molecules which prepare access routes to the infection by slowing blood flow and widening blood vessel pores, giving defender cells quicker access to the viruses. Meanwhile, natural killer cells patrol the body, destroying virus-infected body cells. They also play a key role in dealing with various cancers. The new Bs, Ts, mediators, and phagocytes vanquish the antigen, but many are dead and some tissue destroyed. More phagocytes move in to clear away the debris and dead tissue. Gradually, destroyed cells are replaced by new ones. Healing occurs, and the body's immune response remains victorious. Although the immune system wins most battles against diseases, in some cases invaders may be difficult to destroy and can bypass the cellular and chemical defenses. In such cases, the battle may rage on, seriously damaging body tissue, and new clinical problems may ensue, thereby requiring medical intervention. Nevertheless, in recent years, fundamental discoveries in immunology have profoundly advanced the development of every branch of medicine and surgery. Science's expanding knowledge of the immune response appears to be a major key to the preservation of good health, from infancy to old age.
Great. The animation in there was awesome, and then of course the that soundtrack, that kind of late 70s, early 80s. It's probably early 80s, kind of Tangerine Dream-esque music. Really, really good. And so that's part of a series, Allegro Science Films. What they would do, in most cases, I would have a copy of this, and I have several in this series. There would be an ad at the beginning and an ad at the end, and it would be sponsored by some regional something like Ciba-Geigy, a chemical factory, or some power electrical company, or some forge company. So basically, they would reach out to these places that kind of had a tangential relationship to science and said, "Hey, if you pay money towards this, then we will distribute these to schools." And I don't know if these films were sold or if they were just given to schools, but that ad is at the beginning and the end. It's pretty great. So this film So I have something set up on the telecine, but it's I'm going to wait to the end to show it because it's going to require some hands-on work, and I'll explain more as I get there. But we do have a scanner set up. If I do this, where we scan films and we broadcast them. And this is one I've wanted to show, but there's reasons. I'll get to that. Anyways, so this film is probably very insulting to women. It's called Kissing the Girls Goodbye. It's about word processing. Enjoy.
All you gotta do is push a few little buttons, and it'll give you time to do some golf course putting. Processed words will easily cut in half the time at the office you'll spend now. Follow us and we'll show you the way, sir. Every sentence has an automatic spacer, and better than that, you'll never need an eraser again, my friend. Can you comprehend that? People and machine are working on the scene, making life a little bit better for typing up and sending those letters and words. You know we got it made. Buy your secretary some lemonade. People and machine, people and machine, they're quite a team. People and machine.
Once upon a time, there was this guy, see? Maybe he was the top banana, or maybe he was just on his way up the ladder. But anyway, he was called the boss. Things were lonesome. He had to get his own coffee, open his own mail, make his own phone calls, write his own letters, and still run things. What was a poor boss to do? So he hired someone, and she made his coffee, and opened his mail and made his phone calls and typed his letters while he helped run things. She was a kind of combination servant, messenger, and scribe. A peculiar relationship has linked these two together, and anyone who tried to break that cord has been in big trouble. He called her my secretary, or my girl. In the 100 years since, these girls have become routine, although they hardly ever show up in the organizational charts. There are tens of millions of them scattered without much rhyme or reason throughout almost every organization. And it has come to pass that somewhere along the ladders, young executives, climbing young executives, realize they're arriving when they get the key to the executive washroom and their very own girl. Sometimes she worked like a dog, getting out late reports, revisions, letters for her eager beaver boss. Sometimes she twiddled her thumbs while her boss took 2-hour lunches and winter cruises. In the meantime, a lot of other hard-working people in the company could have used her help with their own work.
When we studied our company, we found approximately 800 people who required secretarial support. However, we also found that only about 25% were receiving this support at an acceptable level. At middle management, where most of the paper was being generated, we found support to be quite marginal.
Now, no one knew just what my girl was up to most of the time, but not long ago, some researchers checked up on several hundred secretaries and found that this is the way they spend their day, including
15 pieces of mail, 9 calls received, 4 calls made, 3 trips to file, 2.5 letters taken in dictation, 2 trips to the copy machine, 3.5 letters and other documents typed, 2 trips to the canteen, 1 trip to retrieve files, a weekly trip to the stockroom, and 44 unscheduled interruptions.
with a grand net total of 4 to 6 typed words a minute. In the meantime, the tide of business documents and the cost of producing them is rising to flood stage. And thus the traditional office has been bumbling along willy-nilly for more than 100 years, operating pretty much like its prototype, the large Victorian household complete with domestic servants. Ta-da! To the rescue! Enter the modern business concept in the form of word processing. Word processing is a way to transform ideas into written communications quickly and accurately through the use of automated equipment operated by skilled people using revised office procedures. It simply, or not so simply, combines new equipment and procedures with newly trained people, making possible a substantial change in the ways in which work is divided within the company's white-collar sphere. Wow, when that happens, look out, because when you start meddling with those sacred office traditions, it can be a hornet's nest.
You're not going to put me in a typing pool.
Or she says,
You can't take my typewriter away over my dead body.
and the boss says,
I'd rather cut off my right arm than lose my secretary. She takes care of me. I can't change. I mean, really.
There's a heck of a lot of folklore related to the secretarial position. This includes a lot of tradition and myth. Over the years, the secretarial position has become a very protected position. It's been my observation that the traditional secretarial system is essentially a dependency relationship between the boss and the secretary. As time passes, the boss and the secretary develop a intense relationship of confidence and trust. He provides her with the necessary security of job and income, as well as some semblance of recognition. She, on the other hand, is quite protective of his position. And this bond seems to grow stronger and stronger as time passes. When an outsider says that he's going to reorganize this relationship, the result is an intense level of anxiety on the part of both the principal and the secretary.
but for the good of the business, for the good of costs and production, in the name of accuracy and efficiency, savings and speed, and for his own good, bosses are going to have to kiss the girls goodbye. Let's take a close look at what the changes in word processing really mean, especially to the traditional secretary and her office world. 1, her duties change. 2, her skills change. 3, her work relationships change. 4, her environment changes. 5, attitudes towards her change. 6, her salary, benefits, job satisfaction, and job opportunities improve. First, let's look at the changes in her duties, her skills, her office relationships. Word processing allows coordination of the work of the office as a whole, consolidating secretarial services into 2 major teams. So secretaries and typewriters aren't scattered around as status symbols, but are organized for special jobs in central or satellite groups. There are 2 major teams. Pat, for instance, opts for administrative support, working on a team that serves a whole department, doing everything she did before and more, but without typing and with challenging new responsibilities. Karen, who likes to organize, type, format, etc., became a trained word processing specialist. Her job is producing written communication with handsome and sophisticated equipment and new procedures. So let's take an even closer look at these 2 special teams with their new skills, training, new organization, and job focus. On the surface, Pat looks like a traditional secretary. But in her administrative support role, she is on the edge of management, making more decisions, handling more challenging tasks.
Each of our administrative support centers is designed to fit the particular needs of that department. It's rather surprising that once we convert an area, all types of jobs are unearthed that management people previously felt no one could do but themselves. As a result, our secretaries really have very responsible work assignments.
We are trying to make our administrative support secretaries into true paralegals by giving them much routine work, research work, and legwork that was formerly done by attorneys. We tell them in their interviews that it will be partly up to them to enrich their own jobs by convincing their attorneys that they are capable of taking on this additional responsibility. If the idea of this new office concept intrigues them, those are the type of people we would try to hire.
Often the support secretaries are a link between the author or word originator and the word processing specialist, which brings us to Karen's choice on the other professional office service team. She's learning to talk to these sophisticated new machines, tell them what she wants them to do and how. She handles input from notes, dictating machines, telephones. She's in control and produces 2 to 4 times what she used to on her old-style job. She can retrieve previous documents or parts of them, and she'll never have to erase again. Just overtype and have the errors disappear with magnetic magic.
I was part of the transition from secretary to administrative secretary and now supervisor of administrative support center. There really is quite a difference. I think it's fairer now, not only to the secretaries, but also to the executives. A secretary is judged on her work rather than on the ties to her boss. And you're out of that routine of who's the prettiest and who has the nicest looking legs. I've been through that, and I've had it. As for the executives, a traditional secretary to a particular man in his group has a tendency to please that man, and the group comes second. Now they all have 2 complete working teams.
And both teams are supervised, managed, reorganized, trained, and highly productive. Word processing is bound to rearrange the office landscape some, too. It also brings with it prestige and a whole assortment of new jobs in administration and supervision that never existed before. Last, but not least, word processing is finally prying the secretary away from her lifetime slot as a handmaiden, preparing her for higher levels of responsibility and salary. After more than 100 years, the secretarial function is finally on management's organizational chart. Sounds terrific, right? But almost every one of these people have had fears, doubts, hesitations before they stepped into this new kind of office. In Film 4, we'll take a look and listen to some of these secretarial fears and how they've vanished.
So I just got a big batch of stuff from the homeschooler kids who had been drawing me pictures, and it's intense. It's wonderful. Holy cow. But I'll just say that now we're lasagna geeks, not AV geeks. And then I have this pennant too, AV geeks. But there's a lot that I'll be sharing in it. And supposedly they said that they don't have a YouTube account, so they can't post comments, but please know that we appreciate your. There's some of these that are just hysterical. So I'm still going through them, and I'll start sharing them probably next tomorrow because they are wonderful. Anyways, so that film addressed the concept of the girl, of which shows up in many of the Alcoa management films that we have. Like, you'll have our best girl, and then the fact that now with word processing, you won't need that girl. And then you can imagine what happened when email started happening. Then you had this removal even more, where you had people who were responding directly to emails in management, which was, probably a bad thing, because at least when you had a secretary who was typing it up, they might suggest softening, or they might suggest, other things like grammar things, cleaning up grammar, whatever, being more diplomatic, whereas emails that fly out by management, especially at all hours of the day and night, is probably not a good thing. All right, so I have a film set up on the, if I do this, this on the scanner. This is a Cintel scanner. We just got a laser graphics scanner last week, and it is glorious, but it's not really something that we can use to scan and stream directly, whereas with the Cintel we can, and so that's pretty great. So this film is a, let me change the name on this. It's called the Unteachables, and it's a Ohio Highway Safety Foundation film, or Highway Safety Films film, and it's a driver's ed film. And the Highway Safety Films company was notorious for having footage of dead people, and I think there's some dead people at the beginning of this, so I'm going to try to block it out because it's not really good. Well, look at my hair. Good lunch fare. So so I'm going to work on that. So here is the Unteachables. Enjoy.
Every 12 minutes, a man, a woman, or a child is killed in this country. An act of murder sets many people in motion. Thousands of dollars, many years may be spent in tracking down the killer. When caught, the penalty for taking a life is severe. Yet, when a man kills or is killed in an automobile accident, the case is investigated, the cause analyzed, and the incident quickly disposed of. Is death in an automobile accident less despairing, less shocking, or reprehensible than other deaths inflicted by man? Of course not. Yet every 10 seconds, an automobile accident causes injury or death on our highways. Yes, at each sound of the sting, the killer claims another victim, like this one, photographed by police cameramen. This driver, like many others, was sure it couldn't happen to him. Here are 3 more drivers who feel exactly the same way. It couldn't happen to them. But just 13 minutes from now, at exactly 14 minutes after 4, one of them will be the victim of a terrible accident.
Hello, honey. It's me. Me, your husband, remember?
Just a minute, Harry. I can't hear a word you're saying. Where are you?
Canton.
Canton?
That's right. I've seen all my customers, and I'll be able to make Mike's party this afternoon. How is he?
He's so excited about the party he hasn't eaten all day. Just a minute. Mike? Mike, Daddy, he wants to say hello.
It's me, Daddy.
Say hello, Mike.
He's got other things on his mind.
It's me, Harry. What are you going to bring him?
What do you think? He'll love it. don't bother to wrap it. I'm in a hurry.
It's Harry's son's 5th birthday, and Harry's been driving all night, so he won't miss the party.
You busy today, dear?
You know better than to ask that.
Well, I was just curious.
It's no different than the other 364 days in a year, except when we're taking our 2 weeks vacation. Are you finished in here?
Yeah.
Starts the same way every morning. First I'm the chauffeur driving the kids to school. Then the family secretary getting the weekly cash at the bank, which I think is the man's job. Then I'm the gardener buying seed or fertilizer. Then the shopper getting groceries, meats, or what have you.
Well, you managed to find some time for the girls down at the club.
Not today. Your mother wants me to help her find an outfit.
That's no small job.
Then I've got to see Junior's teacher after school.
Uh-oh. Is that all?
Then there's the optometrist, the dentist.
Well, hold on to your hat. We've been invited to cocktails at 5:30 and dinner by the boss.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Oh, but that's impossible. Look at my hair, and I haven't got a dress.
When the boss says 5:30, it's 5:30. Goodbye, dear.
No.
No doubt about it, there's plenty to do and not much time to do it. Oh, what now? Her purse. Yes, Linda has a million things in her mind right now, but staying alive isn't one of them.
Here comes Mom, come on.
Promise, Dad.
No daughter of mine's going riding in a hot rod.
Oh, he's nice, Dad.
Jerry White's too wild a driver for you.
Here he is now. Please, Dad.
Wait inside. Come in. Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Sit down. I want to talk to you about Susie.
Well, hello, Jerry. So nice to see you. Would you like something cold?
No, thank you, Mrs. Jones.
Mother, I was just about to talk to Jerry.
Susie will be down in a minute. I think it's so nice of you to invite her to the picnic.
Mother, I'd like to talk to...
Later, after Jerry leaves.
But I want to...
Later, dear.
Hi, Jerry.
Ready?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Why don't you give me a chance to talk once in a while instead of worrying so much about Susie landing a husband? This kid drives like a nut.
Jerry's fresh out of high school, has a good job and his first car. He's got the world in his pocket.
Okay, man?
Okay.
Charge it, huh?
Jerry White made a reputation on the football field. He was fast and plenty shifty. The crowds loved him, and Jerry hasn't changed. He's still fast and shifty, but this is a poor reputation for a driver. Harry Banner is a confident, self-made man. He leaves nothing to chance. His family is well protected by insurance, and when out of town, Harry phones home every night to make sure everything's okay. But he won't have to tonight. He'll be home shortly. Maybe a little tired, but the old reflex is still there. Natural-born driver. Well, a little more push, and he'll be home in 10 minutes.
I'd like to see your driver's license and registration. Well, what seems to be the trouble? I wasn't speeding.
Not speeding, sir. You're being issued a citation for unsafe operation.
Patrolman Don Rogers doesn't like to give out citations, but he realizes they're necessary to impress the driver that he has committed a dangerous act. Some take it to heart, but those who don't, you remember, like the accident where this young man lost his life. The accident occurred early Saturday evening. The car was being driven recklessly and at a high rate of speed. The driver lost control, skidded 252 feet diagonally across the road, down the berm for 190 feet, then back across the roadway for another 225 feet. It came to rest after breaking off 2 utility poles 12 feet from the road. Harry, too, has seen death on the highway and is aware of the shameful traffic death rate. It disgusts him that drivers don't think ahead, take unnecessary chances. Maybe if Harry could recall the last accident he saw, he'd stop to rest. Shortly before dawn, on a new modern 4-lane divided highway, a fast-moving automobile approached a slow-moving truck, but did not pass it. The car carrying 5 young men slammed into the rear of the truck with such force that the rear wheels of the truck were blasted away. The car hit the truck's undersection hard enough to bounce off its tires and into the other lane, then swerved back into the midsection of the truck. At the moment of impact, the roof of the car was peeled back and now rests over the truck. The 3 young faces in the front seat of the car absorbed much of the impact. Probably none of the 4 passengers knew what happened during those last few seconds. There were beer cans on the floor in the front and a full case of bottles in the back seat. All were empty. Harry remembers the fellow in the front seat still clutching a half-filled bottle of beer. Death had bought the last round. 2 were dead, partially decapitated. 3 seriously injured. This is the driver. He suffered severe brain damage and was unable to stand trial. Harry still wonders how the driver felt when he was able to realize that the 2 passengers with him in the front seat were dead. One of them his own brother. It happens that way quite often in automobile accidents. Some loved one dies. That would be worse than death, Harry believed. To wake up every morning and remember that your wife, child, relative, or friend was killed while riding with you. Harry is much more careful when his family is in the car. It's all right for Harry to push a little, but only when he's alone. He doesn't consider how his wife would feel if anything happened to him. Most drivers don't. Would she feel life was worth living without him? And his children, how would they face the future? Linda knows the rules of the road, so she should know running a stop sign is courting disaster, her own, her family's, or others. If this driver had obeyed a similar stop sign, this wouldn't have happened. The young lady was heading home from a drive-in restaurant on a road that crossed a 4-lane divided highway. She stopped and then crossed the first half safely, but failed to stop for the second half. She pulled directly into the path of a westbound truck. The truck hit the car broadside, carried it 100 feet up the highway. The injuries received by her were a skull fracture, multiple chest injuries, and a fractured right leg. She died 14 hours after removal from the wreckage. Harry, Jerry, Linda. In 1 minute, tragedy will strike one of them.
Okay, on a 31A.
Within a few miles of home and his son's birthday party, Harry's car left the road and was demolished. Harry lived thanks to the ability and quick action of a state patrolman. Three months later, he was released from the hospital. He was very lucky.
I never thought it would happen to me. I was just a little sleepy.
Whatever highway or road you travel, the killer waits patiently. Only his victims hurry.
So I tried to get all of the dead people, but I'm sure I missed some of the mayhem, and I apologize for that. It was an experiment, and probably need to be a little bit more on it. But yeah, so that is very much how highway safety film goes. And the deal with this is that this was, I think he was either an accountant or a lawyer who had a police scanner, and he would go to traffic accidents and he would shoot still images and did a slideshow that he showed Ohio Highway Patrol, and they loved it because it was basically this, this documentation of bad driving. What happens when you are a bad driver? Like what happens? Like the gore, the carnage of being thoughtless, and so they encouraged him to shoot more and do more of these slideshows, and then he started bringing a motion picture camera and started shooting traffic accidents again and editing them. So it's weird. So Signal 30 was the first example of that, and for a lot of people, that's the first time they saw a dead body on the screen. Was these driver's ed films, and they have evoked people passing out. They became notorious amongst high schoolers who said, "Oh yeah, wait until you start driver's ed, and the coach is going to show you these films." My father saw one in the Navy. Again, the idea was it's trying to shock you into good driving behavior. Of course, we know that doesn't always work, especially if there's a distance from the person and what they're looking at the screen, meaning like, oh, well, that was from the 60s, or that's from the 70s. But it's sick. So a friend of mine, Brett Wood, did a documentary about highway safety films. And there is this kind of sickness to it, in that it is grotesque, showing dead bodies on the screen. And then, he would shoot the footage, and then he would build a narrative around it. So he would basically show these people that kind of look like the dead bodies, and then kind of come up with these stories. But I think it's the same, even though it is trying to educate, there is this kind of really grotesque sickness in documenting dead people. And I don't know if anybody ever has talked about that, but it is very... Anyways, happy Monday, everybody. Yeah, so I have some other highway safety films that are not dealing with highway stuff. They're dealing with other things. And maybe I'll show some of those at some point. But yeah. So drive careful, everybody, please. And thank you to the family that has been sending me these amazing illustrations, these drawings, and I'm going to share some of them over this upcoming week. And they definitely are going to get a special show from me. I might do it live just so you get comments and you can see it. All that stuff. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you soon. Take care, everybody.